Okay, let's talk about it. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. You hear these terms thrown around everywhere, right? And a lot of the time, they're used like they all mean the exact same thing. But are they? Let's break it down and get this whole thing straightened out. So right off the bat, here's the big question. Are AI, ML, and DL just different buzzwords for the same concept? And even though you hear them used interchangeably, the answer is a big, fat no. Each one is actually a very specific layer of technology. And you know what? Understanding the difference is super important for, well, understanding the world around us.
To make this all make sense, we're going to use one simple analogy for this whole explainer. Just picture a huge, sprawling tree. That's our starting point. Now, zoom in on one of its main branches. And then, on that branch, focus on just a single leaf. Got it? Tree, branch, leaf. This one image is going to be our guide through everything.
So first things first, let's talk about the tree itself. Artificial intelligence, or AI. This is the big picture, the overarching idea that kicked off this entire field decades ago. At its heart, AI is really just the broad science of trying to make machines smart. The whole goal is to build systems that can do things that normally require a human brain. You know, things like reasoning through a problem, learning from what happened before, and making its own decisions. In the early days, this usually meant trying to hard-code a machine with tons of if this, then that rules.
So what does that actually look like? Well, a true AI system should be able to solve tricky problems, understand what you're saying when you talk to it, make a plan to get something done, and spot patterns. All things we consider signs of intelligence, right?
And I guarantee you use it every single day. When you ask Siri about the weather or tell your Google Assistant to play a song, you're interacting with a broad AI system. It gets what you're saying, figures out your intent, and then does something about it. That's our tree.
All right, now let's zoom in a little. We're moving from the whole tree to one of its biggest, most important branches, machine learning, or ML. And remember, this isn't some other tree in the forest. It's a fundamental part of that main AI tree.
Now this is the key. Machine learning is a specific way to achieve AI. Instead of trying to program a computer with an endless list of rules for every single possibility, you do something much smarter. You give it a massive amount of data and let it learn the rules for itself. This whole approach just exploded when we got big data from the internet and computers that were finally powerful enough to handle it all. So what's this good for? Well, your email spam filter is a perfect example of ML. Nobody taught it every single bad word. It just learned what spam looks like by analyzing millions of emails. ML is also what powers systems that predict things like housing prices, or maybe the one we all know, recommending which video you should watch next.
I mean, think about YouTube. There isn't a person at YouTube headquarters picking out videos just for you. Nope, it's a machine learning algorithm that looks at your watch history, sees what you've thumbs upped, and compares you to millions of other users to make a really good guess about what you'll want to see next. That's the branching action.
Okay, we've gone from the tree to the branch. Time to zoom in one last time, all the way down to a single leaf on that ML branch. This is where we get to deep learning, or DL. This is an even more advanced, more specialized technique.
So deep learning is a very specific type of machine learning. It gets its power from something called an artificial neural network, which is kind of modeled after how our own brains are wired. And the deep part, that just means these networks have tons and tons of layers, which lets them learn way more complicated and subtle patterns than a standard ML model ever could.
Having all those layers makes deep learning amazing at really sophisticated stuff. It's the secret sauce behind things like your phone being able to recognize a cat in a photo, your voice assistant understanding the little nuances in your speech, and even the complex, split-second decisions needed for a self-driving car. The perfect example is Face Unlock on your phone. To make that work, the system had to learn from millions upon millions of faces to figure out what a face even is. The deep neural network is so good it can spot your face from weird angles, in bad lighting, or even if you decide to grow a beard. That's the leaf.
Okay, so we've looked at the tree, the branch, and the leaf. Now let's just pull back for a second and see how this all connects to really nail down the concept.
And there you have it. This is the whole relationship in one simple diagram. Artificial intelligence is the giant umbrella concept. Under that umbrella, you have machine learning as one of the ways to make it happen. And then, as a powerful technique inside that, you have deep learning. They're like Russian nesting dolls. All deep learning is machine learning, and all machine learning is AI. This little table really helps break down the differences. You can see the focus shifts from just smart decisions with AI to learning from data with ML, all the way to learning from massive amounts of data with DL. And as you get more specialized, the need for both more data and more powerful hardware, like GPUs, just goes way, way up.
Let's finish up with some really clear, real-world examples. A big conversational model like ChatGPT, that's a great showcase of broad AI. The recommendation engine on Netflix that seems to read your mind, classic machine learning. But the vision system in a Tesla that has to identify people, cars, and signs in real time, that is pure deep learning, no question.
So why does any of this matter? Well, because when you get this hierarchy, you have so much more clarity. You actually know what people are talking about, and you can get a better sense of which tool is being used for which job. It's pretty powerful stuff to know.
And that brings us to the end of our little journey, from the giant AI tree down to the ML branch and right to the DL leaf. It really leaves you with a final question though, doesn't it? As fast as all this is moving, what's going to be the next new leaf to sprout on this incredible tree? That's a future we're all going to be watching unfold. Thanks for joining me.